All right, here with Matt Darr again. This is round 3 for us.
Yeah, round 3. This is our 4th year here.
Yeah.
But so, for sure, 3rd round.
I want to dive in a little bit more on the coaching side of things. You know, we've kind of done the history of the program a little bit. But are you able to prepare at all for the opponents for this?
I'd say it's very limited, right? It's probably looking at stats, if you can get on Game Changer and maybe find some stuff. Back in Colorado, we have guys that scout the teams, and so I have a pretty in-depth report on guys, but it's pretty limited, honestly.
For you, what are your favorite in-game charts that you like to use?
For me, when I have access to like the full reports, it's basically tendencies on pitchers, on counts that we have, and then also for hitters, when we're scouting hitters in terms of what they tend to do, certain counts, what they tend to do, in certain situations, things like that.
With your practice planning, we've talked a little bit about practice planning. How has that evolved for you over the years? Like from when you started to where you're at now, how has that evolved for you over the years?
Yeah, good question. I think for me, the longer I've done this, the more I don't want to say the practices have shortened a lot, but I think they've definitely become more targeted, specific, fast moving. I think kids have evolved even in the last 12 years. I've done this at Regis in the last 20 years overall, where you've got to keep things moving and active because they're not wired the way to stay attention span for a long time. So
yeah, I think all coaches are different. Do you get them the practice plan before practice? Do you wait till they show up? How do you handle?
We post it. So when they arrive, it's posted. They have a list of like pre-practice duties field wise, and then they can see at that point. Although they will know in general, today's an offensive day, today's a defensive day, that kind of stuff, so they can plan. But in terms of specifics, they won't know.
How do you hand out those responsibilities for pre-practice?
It's just posted and they figure it out.
They figure it out?
Yeah, like it's not necessarily specific, like this kid does that. Pitchers may work on the mound, but in general, like moving tarps off, putting out bases, I'm a big believer in like they need to do it collectively. So that's kind of the plan.
With kids evolving, then how does training change for them over the years? How's training or practice changed for them over the years?
Yeah, I think like there's been more, like most all kids at this point, especially high level kids, have their own hitting coach, their own pitching guy. So it's it feels like to me less individual teaching and more teamwork concepts, right? Because you can teach a hitting philosophy, but chances are those guys are getting 9 different philosophies, right? So not that it's all bad, but I think it ends up creating, I don't know, sometimes it wastes time, it feels like, because they have their own idea. They'll listen to you, but they're like one ear out the other type thing, and I don't know how effective it is.
We talk about swing coaches versus hitting coaches. I mean, obviously they go to their swing coach, but during practice, you're their hitting coach because situational hitting. How do you attack situational hitting in practice?
Yeah, and I tell kids all the time, like obviously it's not worth the battle to say you can't have your own hitting swing or whatever coach, but I talk to them all the time, like your hitting coach is teaching you how to have success in a cage with launch angle, exit velo, stuff like that, and when it's 42 degrees and the wind's blowing in 30 miles an hour, I need a kid that can hit the ball the other way or bunt, because we're not going to have success hitting the long ball, especially in a place like Colorado where you got the elements and stuff like that.
We get this question a lot at the rookie mentorship meeting at the convention from assistant coaches. From a head coach's perspective, how do you know when you're going to give assistants more responsibilities on field or anything else with the program? How do you know when you're going to give an assistant more responsibilities?
That's a good question. I think, I've my staff I've had for a long time, so I'm trying to think, like when I hire, like I say, a JV coach or whatever, and you notice them taking steps on their own, like whatever that is, you feel like you can give more to them, right? And you trust them. I think that's what when you see them proactively take stuff, then it gives you that opportunity.
That's been my tip to them. Like, hey, whatever they're giving you to do right now, do that really well, and then they're probably going to give you more responsibilities. If you handle that one responsibility you have really well, they'll probably end up giving you more responsibilities.
For sure, yeah.
What are you trying to get out of today? Good game yesterday, but
yeah,
really good game yesterday. What are you trying to get out of today?
I mean, obviously winning's important, but I think like more than anything, I talked to the kids last night about the importance of learning from adversity. You know, in our state tournament setup, you know, it's a double elimination bracket, right? So we hopefully got better yesterday by learning how to have a tough loss and bounce back in a similar type scenario where you're going to face two good teams, two good arms, probably, you know, that sort of stuff. So I think you want to get out of that ability to draw from that later down the road, because, you know, it's not easy to bounce back after a loss, but it's the reality of how the system
and it's
works.
early in the year too.
Yeah, and the guy was really good, right? Exactly. Sometimes you gotta
tip your cap.
I mean, it may have been the best.
I don't know how many teams would have hit him yesterday.
In my long time doing this, it may have been the best performance against us. Like just dominant. I mean, we really didn't have a lot. We had one opportunity in the sixth, you know, to get runs. Otherwise, you know, most of the time when you see kids, you get a few innings where you leave guys on and you look back. I was like, I don't even know if I can say what we could have done different other than not have him on the bump, right? That would have been the best solution, but yeah, it is.
You know, yesterday you get to hit on the field. Today you guys are in the indoor cages. Does that look different for you hitting-wise or pregame-wise when you are on the field? Because you deal with it in Colorado, I'm sure, too, where some days you may be on the field for pregame, but then other days you might be inside training.
A lot more, I think, when you get inside, and I've always said, like, historically, I feel like we've always been one of the better hitting teams that come here, and part of it, I think, is because we're indoors for 3 months and we really work on swing stuff, right? Where California, Florida schools are all outside. And I do think time in the cages really helps you narrow the focus a little bit. When you're outside and hitting, you tend to get caught up in what's going on outside, how far you're hitting it, instead of the proper swings.
But those of us that have coached in the North, we go through that. We feel like our swings are really short coming out of the gym, but then you get outside for a while and the swings start to get long. Do you have any tips for maybe shortening swings back up when they need to? Because that's going to happen. Once you get outside and you want to start seeing the ball fly, you might get a little bit long with your swing. Do you have any tips on try to bring their
we'll do some drills, you know, like some opposite field drills or some stuff where, you know, you put the cage off to the side and throw from different angles just to try to shorten it up. I think a lot of times it's talking to them mentally wise about that. Like, for example, to your point, like yesterday we talked a little bit about what the Morse kid is like. Young hitters tend to try to do more when a kid's throwing harder, which in reality, you've got to shorten your swing and just straight to the ball instead of trying to swing harder. You're like, he's throwing 95, I got to catch up.
Just touch it.
Let him provide the power and let him provide the velo off the bat and just get to the ball. Yeah.
Have your in-game responsibilities changed much over the years?
I've given more away. Don't coach the bases. I haven't done that for a while. I don't call pitches. I think it's managing, right? It's the bigger picture. One of my mentors a while ago said, you know, as the head coach or the manager, you just watch the first 4 innings and then you integrate yourself in the last 3. And a lot of times it's that way, right? With moves, pitching, that sort of stuff.
Love it. All right, thanks for your time, Matt.
Yeah, of course.
Appreciate you. All right, here with Miguel Menendez, Tampa Jesuit. Really good game yesterday, by the way. Very well played game on both sides. What did you think about yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, obviously 2 really talented arms on the mound, you know, which we knew we were going to get right going into that game. It was like, all right, can you sneak through the first one somehow? And their guy was tough. But I thought we played pretty well. I think Caden competed his butt off out there and gave us a chance. And you know, they made a couple more plays than we did. I thought we had some opportunities, but really happy and excited to get to play a team of that caliber, and glad it was a good game, and we competed well.
You guys have had a rich tradition of arms. I mean, what do you attribute to that? Obviously, some of it's talent, but you guys have done such a good job of developing arms.
I mean, yeah, obviously I got to give the players credit of what they've done and what they do when they come in, but our pitching coach does a tremendous job. They buy into the culture of the program, they buy into the weight room, and you know, guys just want to compete. And I think the other thing is like iron sharpens iron, right? Like they've had to kind of compete for innings, and it's just kind of helped them compete. And you know, we've been fortunate that guys have been successful when they come out of and left our place.
Can you prepare for something like this with teams you probably haven't seen before?
It's tough. I mean, it's a little easier nowadays just because of social media, right? And honestly, like our guys have probably played against some of these guys throughout in summer events and showcases and things of that nature. But still, it's hard to kind of see unless you know somebody in the area to try to get a scouting report to see how they play. Like it's tough till you get out there. But I mean, that's what makes it fun.
What do you guys use in game chart wise? Do you use anything?
So we do, we're still a little traditional, old school with stuff by hand.
I think most guys here we've talked to
but we started using 643. It's come out with an amateur one now, and we've been using that. And honestly, literally, we've been using it for like a week and a half, and it's been awesome. It's been a game changer for us to be able to go and keep it and kind of. We still been doing our old school by hand, but we started implementing that a little bit more, and we're excited to kind of continue to do that.
Have your in-game responsibilities changed much over the years since you started?
Yeah, I'm probably a little more hands-off. Like I don't coach third. My third base coach has had to deal with a family issue. He's actually not here. He was supposed to come up yesterday, and something happened. But he kind of runs the offense usually. I got a pitcher coach who calls all the pitches. I used to do everything, and now I do nothing. Write a lineup. But it's changed. But I think that's because I just have such a great staff. Like I can let them do their thing, and we've been together so long. They've been with me since I've been here 12 years now, and we all kind of see things the same way. So it just makes my life easier, and I can just kind of manage the dugout. And I tell everybody, like, I don't even coach baseball, I coach culture. Like they handle the baseball stuff, I handle the culture stuff.
And we hear that word a lot. Like when somebody says, I handle culture, What does that mean to you?
To me, it's about the tradition and legacy of our program, what we do, and it's making sure guys understand. And we talk about all the time, like when you graduate, your job's not done. It's how did you leave those guys behind you? Are they ready to take your place and become leaders? Our guys, we had Vincent DiCarlo, who's a freshman at NC State, was at our game last night. He came out to support the guys, and it's like those kind of things we take pride in. Jamie Arnold came and, but right before he left for spring training and came and talked to our group. And so we get those kind of things, and guys want to pour back into the program, and that makes me feel good, and that's what we talk about. To me, that's what culture is.
When those guys come back, what do they try to relay to the guys?
It's funny, like the number one thing is how much they miss Jesuit baseball and playing right in high school. Like as much as they've had great college careers and playing pro ball now, like it's nothing's like being there and like just to enjoy the moment and to enjoy your time there and not kind of always peek ahead at what's next, just kind of be in the moment. And that seems to be the constant theme with our guys when they come back.
How gratifying is it for you with your Tampa roots?
It's great. I mean, to be able to be there and be a part of it and to help kind of keep the rich tradition of the school going. I mean, it means a lot. And for us to be able to come out here and represent and hopefully play well while we're here, like it means the world to me.
Now then training-wise, practice-wise, because what are you doing then training since your roles shift?
Yeah.
How are you kind of just touch pointing everybody?
I mean, I still when we do team defense, team offense, like it's still kind of leading the way, but it's like when we, to me, I'll be honest with you, my favorite part of practice is when we do individual defense because I get to go handle the catchers. That's my responsibility. I love it. I didn't love that we had a pass ball to allow a run to score last night. I wear those a little more personally, right? But I love spending that time with those guys. And then it's like you said, it's just kind of overseeing and managing our coaching staff and making sure, touching base with them, like, hey, what do we need to work on today? What needs to be in the practice plan? And turn them loose to let them go. Like they do such a great job. I mean, you've had Louis Martinez on the podcast here as assistant coach of the year, and he does a great job with our infielders. Like I don't mess with infielders. I'm like, look, he's way better at it than me. Like go deal with him. Like he's got it. And I feel that way with all of our guys. Like everybody's kind of got their niche and their role, and they bought in. And I think a big factor is the ABCA and going to the convention and taking our staff there and just kind of always kind of looking at new ideas and how we can get better and improve. And and it's those kind of things that I think have, allowed us. For me, it gives me more time to kind of self-reflect, self-scout. How can we be better as a program and focus on those areas?
And that's why you come and play in things like this, because it's going to be those small things that'll either allow you to win or lose games.
Yes, absolutely, right? And just getting able to talk to other coaches and see how they do things from different areas, right? Like I'm intrigued, and we don't play a lot of small ball, but I'm always intrigued by the California and that West Coast ball that they call it, right? Whatever. But I'm always like, how can we do things? How can we incorporate things to get better? And all those kind of things. So to me, when you come to these kind of events and you see people from all different parts of the country, it's like, let me pick their brain. What are they doing? How are they? Why are they successful? Can we steal some of that, right? I think coaches are the biggest thieves out there, right? We're always looking for ways to get better. But to me, like that's the benefit and one of the major, obviously we want to play great competition and want to show well, and we would have loved to have won the tournament. Now, we're going to try to finish 3-1 here, but to me, it's about those things and how we can bring stuff back to our program to be better and go compete for a state championship.
Do you have any preset pregame stuff for catchers that you have them do daily?
So we have tried to, we try to, here we were going to bring the machine. With travel, it was a little bit tougher, but we try to do a lot of stuff with the machine. We'll do heavy ball, bare hand stuff, like just stuff to kind of wake up and activate the body and that kind of stuff. But I mean, that's stuff that I think everybody's seen clips of. We try to jump on board with a lot of that stuff.
At our convention with the rookie mentorship, we get a lot of questions. You've had great assistants, and you haven't really had to deal with new assistants, but for a young assistant trying to get into it, how can they kind of gain more responsibility, or how should they go about that, asking for more responsibilities?
I think the biggest thing, like with our guys, is when you come in and just put your head down and work and gain trust, like that's the best thing, right? Be where your feet are. I know I hear that a lot on the podcast, but be where your feet are, be the best you can. And as you do that and you start to gain trust, the head coach is going to give you more responsibility. We've been fortunate, our guys I think they don't want to be the head guy somewhere else. Like they've had opportunities, but they just want to stay and work. And I appreciate that. Trust me, I don't want to have to always replace guys. But my goal, like I tell them all the time, if you want to be a head coach, my goal is to try to help you learn, be the best you can, and get you out so you can go be a head coach somewhere if that's what your goal is. And if you want to be here and be the best guy you can be, that's great too. Obviously, we'd love to have you and keep you here for as long as possible. But to me, just put your head down and work, and I think you gain a lot of trust that way.
I thought you did a good job handling umpires last night. It doesn't always go your way. I thought you did a good. I thought both sides did, because it wasn't just it was both sides.
It was both. Yeah.
I thought you did a good job. Just talk about managing umpires too, because I think that's a big point of.
It's
hard at times.
Tough. And I was not.
I thought you did a good job last night.
Well, I appreciate it. My wife. I can't wait to show this to my wife and tell her this. But no, it's a challenge at times. I've gotten better as I've gotten older, right? Like when you're young and fiery, like everything always personal. Yep. Like I've learned over the years, to me, it's like if I get so hyped up at the umpires, my kids are going to get hyped up, and then they're not going to play the game the way they're supposed to be played. So I try to stay as calm as possible. I'm not always great at it, but I try to be. And last night it was tough both ways, and I didn't want to take away from either team. Like I thought both guys did such a good job. And it's like you get out there to a point.
Factored into the outcome of the game, because I thought for both sides there was tough calls for both sides.
Exactly, and that's the thing. It's like sometimes you get out there. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think my first thought was like, okay, the last thing I want to do is get thrown out into a game at USA Baseball, right? Like, oh shoot.
Good.
But those kind of things.
I'll edit it.
All right. Sorry.
We're good.
But those kind of things, like it went through my mind, obviously. But it's just it's. The umpires are trying to do the best they can, right? You got to go fight for your guys sometimes. Like I tell our guys, like I'm going to fight for you, but there's a line, and we just got to play through it. Like it's the same for both sides, like you said, and that's the big thing. Just keep competing.
I think too, like you don't know what type of stuff that home plate guy is seeing.
Exactly.
Two elite arms.
And I think that was probably the biggest thing last night. Yeah.
Like they probably haven't seen arms like that consistently, where it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for those guys.
It's going to be tough sometimes.
Those are elite arms.
And that's what I told our guys. Like it's two elite arms. It probably, like you said, he probably hadn't seen a lot of that, and it's tough. And so I'm like, just go. Like the good thing was, like you said, it was consistent both ways. So like they're fighting the same thing we're fighting. Just go compete.
Did you talk to them much after the game last night, or just kind of?
A little bit, but not.
Are you a post-game guy? Do you talk much?
We do a little. I try not to say too much post-game, because if we won, they don't want to hear me anyway. If they lose, they really don't want to hear me. So we spent more time when we got back to the hotel, ate dinner. We kind of talked a little bit. I talked a little bit post-game. We do, but I try not to hit too much. It's really either like on a road trip, we could do a little bit more in the hotel, or the next day before the game or before practice, we try to hit it. But it was just more of like, you could tell there was disappointment, right? Because now you can't win the tournament, but it's like there's still a job to do, right? We got to go 3-1. Like that's what we came here to do. We got to win as many games as we can and just keep competing, right? There's still a lot of really good baseball left to play.
Using this as a team building trip too, because obviously you probably don't stay in many hotels up to this point, do you?
No, we were in Jacksonville last week for a night. Like, it was a quick kind of trip where we went like a Thursday, Friday, and just because this was such an expense that we didn't do too many hotels. But like I told them, like we've got to get comfortable, because you go down to the state tournament and you're gonna have to stay in a hotel and get ready to play, and it's like trying to get them to experience those kind of things so they can, hopefully have success if we can make it that far.
Any other shout outs you want to give before I let you go?
Just my coaching staff and probably my wife, Lori, right? Like, she's the reason I get to do this. You know, she spent a lot of time when my kids are a little bit older now. I have a junior on, my baby's a junior on the team. But she spent a lot of times by herself at a lot of sporting events while I was at practice and doing things. So, yeah, I got to give her a shout out for sure.
Give some tips on coaching your own son or daughter.
I don't know if I'm the right one. I caught my oldest son, so I don't know if I'm the right one to give some of those tips.
Well, speak to that a little bit.
Yeah.
Obviously, a tough decision, but you're doing what's best for the program, too.
Yeah, and you know, we had that talk when my son, when we came here and came to Tampa with my oldest, and even my youngest, it was like, look, I got to do what's right. This is how, this is what pays the bills here. And it was tough. Like, we had a really good team. It was the COVID year 2020. We were #1 in the country, and we had a lot of returning guys and some big time guys. And but for him, I think the good thing is he took it well. He continued to work. He made the team as a senior the next year, and and he was played a key role for us. So, coaching your son is tough, right? Like, you always want to be. That's where Louis and I have such a great relationship. It's like, all right, Louis, you got him today. I'm ready to kill him. Like, you take him, and he'll handle it and do some of those things. But I've gotten better. I tell my oldest all the time, like, your younger brother got the better version of me because I've learned from all my mistakes with you, and it's just tough. I try to, there's that fine line of when to be dad, when to be coach, and I've probably, I don't want to say baby my younger one, but he definitely got a better version of dad and coach than my older one did.
I think that's been the biggest tip with the high school guys, that you have to allow your assistants to do most of the coaching and to be able to separate that dad coach.
Yes, absolutely, for sure. My youngest is he's good. Like, we go hit all the time on our own, and that's great, and that's kind of our time. But at practice, it's he's an outfielder, which is great. I don't have to deal with him. We got a guy that handles that, and then Louis kind of handles the hidden stuff, so I could just kind of leave him alone. And then when it's one-on-one, we get to be dad and son again.
Thanks for your time, Miguel.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Rick Arnold from Trinity.
Yes, sir.
Good win yesterday for you all.
Thank you.
What did you talk to the guys about after the game, if anything?
You just talked about being mentally tough and taking advantage of opportunities, right? We didn't get a ton of opportunities, but we didn't give up many. So just being mentally tough and being, staying focused and literally taking advantage of every chance we get, to make something happen.
I just thought you guys in the first inning, you had a chance. That game could have got away from you guys in the first inning. You guys bared down. Just showed a lot about your team's mental toughness.
Yeah, that was exactly the message. And literally, we had a couple chances, like I said, to give up a couple runs, and when we didn't, we just kind of dug our feet in and didn't give up anything early, and that gave us some momentum and some confidence that we needed.
Do you prepare for the other teams in this? Can you prepare for the other teams?
We watch as much video as we can on anything we can get our hands on. We try to watch some at bats, but it's so hard because you're seeing these guys one time and you don't know them. It's not like your state or your regional opponents where you can see games all year long. This is such a challenge and such an honor to be here. But it's we didn't come just to show. We came to win, and we're going to try our best to win every inning of every day.
Good arm for you yesterday.
Yeah.
Are you heavily involved with the arms with the pitchers?
Yeah. My background's in pitching, but I've got a young pitching coach, Nick Parrish, who does a really, really good job. He played for me, played summer ball for me, so he's been around me he was my son's roommate in college, so we have a really good rapport, and he's so good with our pitchers. I'm involved because that's my background, but he's so good with our guys, and we've got some guys really bought in to they do their stuff on their own like they all do, but they've bought into what we do and following our program, and they've really taking advantage of every opportunity inside and out of our program.
I think all coaches deal with that now. How do you kind of blend with what they're doing on the side with maybe their own facility, and then when they come back to practice, how are you handling that?
Well, you have to blend it. Look, it's these kids are trying to get to the next level. We know we can help them, but if they've got someone else who can help them, all the better. I mean, shame on me for not embracing them getting better. The biggest thing we stress is avoiding the overuse. And making sure that we're at least communicating, if not to their private instructors, at least to them, so we're on the same page. And we've had a lot of success doing it. And I give Nick a lot of credit, and I give the people we work with a lot of credit.
Yeah, how do you manage? What's that conversation like when you're talking about workload with the people they go to?
Well, generally we put on the kids to communicate to us, and we give them the parameters when we want to start, what we're going to do, and how much we'd like for them to kind of shut down, and what our belief is on that, which is no different than most coaches across the country. The fear is that they're trying to get that work in, and how do they do that in that downtime? But there's guys around our area that are pretty good about making sure they manage it and make sure that there's not a ton of throwing. They can do a lot of other things too, and we do as well.
Nice. Your in-game responsibilities changed much over the course of your career, as far as what your responsibilities are for games?
Not a ton. You know, when I started at Trinity 12 years ago, you know, I coach third base. I'm going to do that as long as I can move my butt in and out, you know, in and out of the dugout. And as the head coach, I think that's important at the high school level, personally. Now, I think it's great when you have someone else who can do it too, but I've always found that it works better for us. And you know, we manage the defensive plays, the bunt situations, the first and third situations, and you know, I'm making the final calls. But I've got a lot of I've got a former head coach on my staff. I've got 4 or 5 college and former pro guys that are on our staff. So we've got a lot of experience. We blend it all. We have a system that, you know, I'll ask a question, I'll get a quick answer, then we make a decision, we roll with it.
Give some tips for coaching third base.
Stay aggressive. You know, I look, especially at the high school level, right? I've got a little experience coaching in college. Never coached third in college except for one game, but where our head coach got kicked out. But I just think you got to stay aggressive, right? You got to pay attention to what's going on. And, you know, we preach to our kids that on second base, know where the outfielders are. But I think there's a lot of coaches that don't pay enough attention to that themselves. The simple things, you know, the attention to detail. You know, where's that third baseman playing? How far away from the bag is he? How far can you get off on your secondaries at spots? I mean, the attention to detail is something that I know my kids get tired of hearing me harp on, but I know they're benefiting from it. We're never going to let up on that.
What about practice planning? How much has that evolved for you over the years?
Oh, it's evolved because we've changed with some current trends and stuff. But man, we've got a really regimented. We've got, you know, we start off with a RST, our run, stretch, and throw, and they've got their band work window, and then we've got some individual work we do. We call it green-white days. Green days are one set of drills, white's another. We do that every other day, and then and that's kind of our individual work. Then we do some individual position work for 15 minutes. And we've got several different things they do, you know, infielders and outfielders that do different. And then we roll into most days a defensive fundamental, whatever that is, 1 or 2 a day for 30 minutes. And then we roll into BP or live at bats or sometimes a sim game, depending on the situation. And then I also flip that. Sometimes I'll flip and do the sim game or the on-field BP before I do the defense, just so that it doesn't get too monotonous for them. But we move from one session to the next and get it done.
Long toss? You guys long toss?
We do long toss. Now, again, we have kind of an individualized approach with our pitchers, depending on their situation. So, and Nick manages that really well, and we oversee that. But we have when we do our run, stretch, and throw, in the throwing window of that, they work out to whatever, you know, maybe work to 150, 180, 210, 240. But as they work back in, then they finish some quick hands. It's a really standard. It's not rocket science, right? It's just a really standard.
Some guys still don't know,
you know.
It, though.
Yeah, that's a shame because I think it benefits kids every day to have and that, to me, that routine is that attention to detail. And there's times where our kids will kind of get away from some of the focus on it, and we got to, you know, get on them. But when they get back on it, they buy in.
We get a lot of questions from young assistant coaches. Give some inexpensive experience to maybe a young assistant that's trying to get into this thing.
Look, I was that guy. You know, a long time ago, but it seems like yesterday to me. I think you've got to ask questions. You know, I think you got to be respectful about it, but you got to know your place, right? And to me, you've got to take your time, kind of just assessing situations on an individual basis in terms of what questions you want to ask when. But even in game, I don't mind a coach asking me a question. Coach, what were you thinking? What were you doing? I'm flattered about that, actually, because, you know, if they want to know, hopefully they're going to help. I've got one of my assistants I've had a couple of them going to be high school coaches in the area, head coaches in the area, and you know, and I learned as much from them as they learned from me, even as young coaches, and much less the veteran guys. Like I just think every day, you know, you got a chance to figure out something, a way to communicate to a kid is the big key. That's another thing I do. I walk around as much as I can, you know, if I don't have any other responsibilities on a given day during our stretching window. You know, we've got a 10-minute window there, and I'm asking them about their siblings, especially our younger players that are up on varsity, because, you know, the freshmen and sophomore might be playing with the big boys. They're a little uncomfortable, but if I can get to know their family a little bit, know if they've got sisters or brothers, some of them I already know about, but the ones I don't, I try to get to know, just to develop that trust. And I encourage our young coaches to do the same.
What about gaining more responsibility as an assistant coach?
Gain what?
Getting more responsibility as an assistant coach.
Yeah, you know, like that's something that I, from my experience, that's earned. Like with my pitching coach. I mean, again, he played for me in summer ball for 6 years on the circuit, right? And then he played for me 4 years at Trinity. And then he was roommates with my son in college, and they played together. So I've seen him mature from a 9-year-old kid through a 25-year-old man, and in the baseball world, right? And so he's earned more responsibility, and I give it to him as soon as he earns it. And truthfully, I'm probably old school. I'm probably tough to please in a lot of ways, just because I'm kind of a paramilitary background, being a retired policeman and homicide detective. So I kind of demand that, but guys have, you know, coaches have bought in just like our kids do, and ultimately that responsibility I give to them pretty quick as they earn it. our first base coach and our guy that hits our IO, like he earned some stuff pretty quick in terms of handling bunt. He does our bunt coverage every day, and that's his defense especially. And then he hits IO, which I take a lot of pride in. We have a very specific routine we go through, moving our feet, dynamic work in that IO, communication, so important to us. And so those coaches, and then when they get more of that responsibility, man, they tend to really love what they're doing.
Any other shout outs you want to give before I let you go?
Shout out to USA Baseball for putting this on, man, and for inviting Trinity High School. We're like I said, we came here to win, but we also came here to get some great experience and be around some of the best programs in the country. And I'll tell you, Tampa yesterday, what a first-class organization, first-class people, and we could play them 10 times.
Two really good arms going at it yesterday.
To me, those are 2 first-round picks, man.
Two really good
I've been around a lot of pros, and those
Yes.
2 guys are both pros yesterday.
Yeah, thanks
No
for your
doubt.
time.
All right, thank you, brother. Appreciate
All right,
it.
here was Zach Hudson, Nolensville. Good bounce back win today for you guys.
Yeah, that's what I told him yesterday. That was kind of the first time we'd been punched in the mouth, really. So I was interested to see how they bounced back, and they did a great job. Del Barton's got a great program, and we knew that. But Parker Vandercook for us set the tone and was really good, pounded the zone. So very pleased with how he bounced back today.
You guys ever played in front of that many scouts?
I don't think so. We've had a lot of scouts before. We've been fortunate enough to have some big time guys, but at one point, you're coaching third, you look up and it's like, man, that's a lot of scouts up there for sure.
But good for them though, because you got to get used to it at some point.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I tell them. Like if they're here to watch you play, you're a good ball player. So something you got to get used to and be able to handle it. So it's obviously an awesome experience for them.
Are you able to like with scouting? Are you able to scout in this type of deal a little bit?
A couple of our assistant coaches came over early yesterday to watch. We may have a little bit of time this afternoon, but you got to kind of take care of the boys first and try and fill their time a little bit. But when we get a chance, we'll come over here.
Do you have any go-to pregame charts or in-game charts that you guys use? What do you guys like to use? I like asking that question.
So among our coaching staff, we kind of do a couple things. I keep a spray chart and just a pitcher tendency chart, and then one of our assistant coaches kind of will watch position in the box, stride, open, closed, hard on the front side, just kind of looking for some tendencies. And then we have a chart, that says, okay, if he's hard on his front side, how do you attack that? So something, and we've challenged our pitchers in the dugout to have charts. So they're doing it, and so we've tried to create some habits of what are we looking for, how do we attack it, so trying to empower them with knowing how to attack it.
How have your in-game responsibilities evolved over your career?
Yeah, it's a great question. It kind of depends on the team, I think. So like when we have, Evan McIlvain catches for us. He didn't catch today, but he's kind of a coach on the field for us. So we let him call the game mostly. But today, I called every pitch that we threw today. So it's kind of day to day. I've done a little bit of everything. We kind of divvy up responsibilities amongst the staff as far as positioning and once again, trying to empower the kids with reading swings and trying to shift and shade and know what pitch is coming and how to attack that pitch.
Pitch calling's an art. How has that evolved for you over the years?
Yeah, same thing. It depends on who we have throwing. What are their strengths? Because we may watch them, a team we're going to play, see them face another arm. Well, we may want to attack them totally differently. So once again, it's all about reading swings and trying to not get into predictable tendencies but also pitching to our strengths. We want to pride ourselves in knowing what our pitchers do well, and we don't want to necessarily try and deviate from that. We want to pitch with our best stuff.
What about practice-wise? How's that practice planning evolved for you over the years?
Yeah, that's something, man. I tell the guys, like I maybe too much time, but I spend, a couple hours a day planning a practice. I hate wasted time. I hate just meaningless standing around. So we try and be as efficient as possible. Take advantage of every inch on the field that we can. We don't have necessarily the best facilities in the world, but if we got some cage time, like I don't want 10 guys in one cage. So once again, just trying to be efficient. Maximize time and maximize space.
When you talk about that, how are you relaying that to the players? Are you posting it? Are you sending it pre-practice? Like when are you relaying it to the players what you're doing for practice that day?
So as soon as it's done, I print it off, have group text by class, I text it out to them, send an email to the coaches, and usually the email to the coaches is pretty detailed, like, hey, here's what we're doing. I don't love to micromanage, but I want to micromanage time. But if we have 30 minutes of individual D, I'm going to let them do their thing with the coaches, do their thing with the kids. We have a great coaching staff. So send it out to them, post it in the locker room, post it in the dugout, and then we'll talk through it at the beginning of practice.
How long have you been doing group text by class?
Well, Probably 5 or 6 years. We used to do like, I forget, Group Me or something like that. It wasn't Group Me, but something similar. It's just kind of been the most efficient way and the best way to do it.
We get a lot of questions from young assistant coaches, especially at the convention, like the rookie mentorship. How can a young assistant maybe handle their responsibilities but then get more responsibilities?
Well, I think asking good questions is always a good thing. And I think whatever role you're in, be the best at that role. Ask for honest feedback from a head coach. We have individual meetings with all of our coaches at the end of each year. And I think just having a conversation of, hey, here's what I want to do. I want to grow in this. Sometimes there's some schools who are probably just fortunate to get a body, but some coaches are fortunate. I want to grow in this profession. I want to be a head coach one day. So I've tried to draw people in on, scheduling, budgeting, fundraising, all that stuff. There's so much, head coaching ball is a sliver of it. There's so much more that goes into it. So just kind of exposing them to those different responsibilities and roles.
You have any fundraising tips?
Man, not really. What we've done golf scrambles. We've done like kind of text-a-thons where we basically just send out texts and calls and ask for money. Everything's more expensive than it should be, so it's always an uphill battle, but our parents do a great job.
Talk about your time at MTSU a little bit.
Yeah, so I was there from 2007 to 2010, played for Coach Peterson. Jim McGuire was an assistant, Mike McClary was an assistant. It was an awesome time, awesome group of guys that we played with. 2009 we were conference champions, played in the Louisville Regional. I think it probably helped form who I am as a baseball coach. Coach Pete was tough-nosed and hard-nosed and old school, and learned a lot from him. But now Mike McClary is actually a coach in our district, so it's kind of weird to go from you recruited me a long time ago and was a coach of mine, and now you were kind of like peers, and we talk on the phone multiple times a week. So, but yeah, it was a great time of my life. Met my wife there, so a lot of good memories there for sure.
You developed good arms and good players over the years. Talk about a little bit about player development.
Yeah. So that's something that at MTSU they did a great job of that. And something it's just you got to be intentional. Player A doesn't look the same as player B. Development's going to come at different times. At our level at high school, we see a freshman who's a little bitty guy, but man, he's got a great swing, he's got a great mechanics. He's going to be really good versus a guy who's big now and strong that he's got some holes. He's going to get exposed when as the game catches up to him. So, individual conversations and trying to talk about like what do you look like? What do you want to be? What do we see you as? So, something that we try and pride ourselves in.
What did you relay to the guys after the game yesterday? What did you talk about?
So we talked about, we got punched in the mouth. First time that's happened all year. Not to say we should have won the game because it was a big gap, but a lot of what ifs. We didn't play clean. Wyatt Clater, who's our ace, Virginia signee, uncharacteristically just didn't command it well. Walked a lot of guys. But when we were in the zone, I thought we had a good plan of attack. But they did what good teams do. They took advantage of it. We kicked the ball to, I think it was the top of the fourth, first pitch of the inning, ground ball at third base, and we kick it. That if we make that play, that inning maybe looks different. They end up scoring 4 runs. So just when we talk about the margins get so narrow. When you play elite baseball, the margins just get so narrow that you got to play catch at a high level, and you got to take advantage of other teams' mistakes.
What's the rest of your schedule look like as far as for Tennessee?
Yeah, so we jump right into district series next week. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, we have a 3-game district series against Franklin. So when we get back, we'll be at about the halfway point in our season. When May hits, it's postseason time. So we'll be in the home stretch of district series. We do 3-game series, which I love. It kind of has a tournament feel to it every week. And so we'll be ready to go and compete and see what we can do.
Any other shout outs you want to give?
Mike Morrison. So Mike Morrison was my head high school baseball coach. Just retired last year. I got to coach against him for the last 9 years, which has been cool. So he's retired now. He calls me and checks in on me every now and then. I'd say him for sure. George, I saw assistant coaches George Jones and Carlos Mosley have been awesome. They're huge fans of yours. We all listen to your podcast. If I'm mowing the field, I probably got your podcast in my earbuds. So now I love your stuff, man, and this is a great honor to be here.
Thanks for your time, Zach.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.